So what is evaluation? So this session, I think there's a couple objectives of this session. The first objective is just to kind of motivate why we're all here, to help, I don't know, convince you all that you got into this, you got yourself into this for a good reason. And so we'll talk a little bit about why it is that we want to evaluate. Many people have actually very different concepts of why it is that they want to do evaluation, and so we'll try to cover the different perspectives on that. We'll talk a little bit about, we'll try to be a bit more precise in our definition of what evaluation is. Evaluation is a very common term, and it means a lot of things to a lot of people, so we'll try to narrow down the definition in terms of what we intend on talking about this week. We'll briefly kind of ask some questions about what makes a good impact evaluation question. And then, and we'll spend the most of this presentation on this, kind of walk you through the 5 different components of program evaluation. And so this will all become clear shortly. Okay, so how are policies made? In their book, Poor Economics, Esther Duflo and Abhijit Banerjee say that a lot of policies, especially in developing countries, but also here, a lot of them fail for a reason that they call the 3 I's: ideology, ignorance, and inertia, right? And so if you haven't read this book, it is an excellent book. I highly suggest you get it. We used to pass it out until we had another book to pass out, which is, I think, more relevant for this course. But basically, the idea is pretty self-explanatory. Some people make policies just because they believe it and it fits with their identity of kind of where they are on some political spectrum. Some people don't want to bother changing ineffective policies just because it requires work. And I think what we'd like to say is ignorance is a strong word, but the fact of the matter is that there's not a lot of good, hard evidence of which policies are working. And so it's hard to kind of promote an effective policy or take down an ineffective policy if we don't know which of those are actually effective. So putting your head in yourself in the head of a policymaker, and many of you are policymakers, so we like to kind of separate the world into the world of policy making. So this is the Poor Economics talks a little bit about why policies fail, and then goes through a lot of evidence of which policies seem to be showing promise, and gives some good frameworks for thinking about that. But in terms of when you are making a new policy, what is the thought process that you go through? Is it, you basically have an opinion of what works, of the way the world works? Is it very subjective, or is it more objective? Is there kind of an evidence-based model? Do you have either like scientific, rigorous quantitative evidence? Do you have non-rigorous quantitative evidence? Is it more qualitative evidence from research, or is it more just kind of based on the experience, intuition, impressions? Or is it, expediency, whatever is kind of politically convenient? So I'd like to ask you, these are kind of like the various reasons why policies are made. I'd like to ask you, how do you think policies are made? Now I don't necessarily mean this as kind of this is more of an opinion question, and this may be based on your experience in your position, previous positions.